Loops Part 2, the for loop. In this lesson we will create another loop that will do exactly the same as the last loop, but with a different syntax. The for loop behaves in a similar way to the while loop. In our case it will be exactly as the last while loop. In the for loop it has 3 arguments and inside its parentheses. The first one is the counter. Let's say in our case it was I, right? And it equals to 0. To separate between the arguments we will use a semicolon. Only in this case the for loop is a special case. It has its own syntax basically. So the second argument is the condition. In the last lesson it was I smaller than 10. What they usually do is write I is less or equal to 10. So basically every time it checks if I is less than 10 or equals to 10. So the loop will continue if I is smaller than 10 or equals to 10. So if I is 5, it will continue. If I is 10, it will continue. And the last argument is the increment. In our case, it's I++. This can be changed. You will see in future lessons we will create different types of loop. The goal of this lesson is just to show you the basic syntax, so it won't be something new for you. You will kind of get used to it. So the goal is just creating something with a for loop. So we will just run one line, in this case s.o I. We don't need to iterate I because it is done in the last argument of the for loop. We don't need to declare I outside of the for loop, we do it inside the for loop. This is something, a syntax that is special for the for loop only. So let's run it and you will see it runs from, let's see, 0 to 10. So basically it runs 11 times. The reason for that is the equal sign. Because it will run one more time when I is equals to 10. So basically this one runs 11 times. It runs this line. Instead of you writing this 10 times, like something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can see it becomes tedious very, very fast. Let's say like this. As you can see, it's not comfortable to write code like that. So if you have code that does the same, but with a small change or a few changes, you can use a loop for it. They also use loops in algorithms, or some kind of a loop in an algorithm. And that's it. This is the for loop. Let's go over it again. At the first argument you initialize the iterator. At the second argument you have your condition. If I is smaller or equals to 10, run the code inside the curly brackets. The last argument is the iterator. We increment I by 1 each time the loop runs. And that's the syntax for the for loop. In future lessons you will see me use this loop or the while loop, but for is used more often than while loop. For actions or code you need to do for a certain amount of times, like 10 times. This syntax is more comfortable for that. While loop is more flexible. you will see we can create different conditions with the while loop. But basically that's it for now. All you need to know is this for now. You will see more complex examples of loops in other parts of the course, in more advanced parts of the course. And that's it for now. That's it for this lesson.